G'day everyone, here to introduce the greatest game of indoor cricket on the Yellow Ball podcast, proudly supported by Cricket Australia and powered by Sportscast. And what an absolute doozy we have for you for this episode. If we remember back to the 2018 Cricket Australia Indoor National Championships held at Action Indoor Sports Toowoomba, what a fantastic final series in the Open Men's Division. You had, in the major semi-final, ACT beat Queensland by just 4 runs. Later that night, on the Friday night, the preliminary final, you had Victoria just getting over Queensland by 1 run. We could replay the whole final series. Each one of these games was just sensational. I was lucky enough and privileged enough to have one of the best seats in the house in the commentary box, sitting next to my good mate Cameron Walter, and also joined by Mark Rice as well. And what a game of cricket. You got 2 of the best coaches in their game. You got Billy Flores and Ross Gregory going head to head. 2 fantastic captains in Matt Flores and Juddy Perkins leading their states out to battle. And it was an absolute battle, this game. What a fantastic game of cricket. It had it all, and I mean everything. It had man-cats, it had hat tricks, it had some quality batting, some quality fielding and some sensational bowling. It really is a game to watch. So much passion in this game. There's a little bit of argy-bargy as well. What a game of cricket. Everyone, sit back and enjoy this one.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of Indoor Cricket's Greatest Games. The first episode was an absolute roaring success with over 12,000 people viewing episode 1. And we just want to thank you so much for your support. So just imagine that, 12,000 people staring around and looking at Indoor Cricket's Greatest Games episode 1. So glad that we're able to come back, and this is going to be an absolute ripper. As Stephen Malk's already talked about, the 2018 Indoor Cricket National Championships Open Men's Final between ACT and Victoria. Allow me to introduce our guests. Our first guest from Victoria has played representative cricket for his state from 2010 and is a regular feature in the Australian Open Men's team since 2014. And it is Justin Perkins, our next guest, playing 98 games for the ACT Rockets Open Men's side, 37 games for Australia and being the captain for 5 of them, 2 times player of the series in an Open Men's Nationals and 1-time International Player of the Year. It is Matthew Flores. And our third guest from the ACT, captain of the 2019 ACT National Indoor Cricket League side, playing 57 games for the ACT Rockets Open Men's, winning 3 national titles, player of the grand final on 2 of them, and Australian representative on the tour to Sri Lanka in the Australasian Cup. Brock Winkler, Matt Flores, Justin Perkins, welcome to the show.
G'day.
Evening, Gary.
Wow, I often say this a lot, but that is an actual star-studded lineup. That's pretty impressive. So thanks very much for coming along. Brock Winkler, I just want to start off with you. You've done a lot of amazing things, but most recently, May 29, mate, little Harry has come into the world weighing 3.75 kilos. So, brother, welcome to the Dad Club, mate. Welcome. It's good to have you.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's been a very steep learning curve the last 10 days. But, yeah, getting used to it and really stoked.
Mate, excellent stuff. And just get on board with the rest of us who've got no idea what's going on. So it's a wonderful club to be a part of. And Justin Perkins, he's just come out of prison or survivor. We're not too sure. Or he looks like maybe he's the Tom Hanks equivalent on The Castaway. How are you going, mate?
Yeah, just batting away in ISO. So haven't had a shave or a haircut since February, I think. So.
Do we need to set up a GoFundMe page for you, or are you going to be all right?
We'll get through the other side of this.
No worries. Well, lads, thanks very much. We just really want to thank as well our major sponsor. So this episode definitely wouldn't be taking place without Potts Financial Services. And here's just a very quick message from our sponsor.
Hi everyone, Andrew Potts here, coming to you from the offices of Potts Financial Services. We are proud to be the major sponsor of episode 2 of Indoor Cricket's Greatest Games. At Potts Financial Services, we specialise in superannuation, personal insurance and investment strategies, as well as providing advice on a wide range of personal and business financial areas. All of our information can be found at pottsfinancialservices.com or by contacting myself on 0424 969 228 or via email at andrew.potts@pottsfinancialservices.com. Episode 2 is the 2018 Australian Open Men's Final, which saw 2015 and 2017 champions, the ACT, come up against a Victorian side seeking their first men's championship since 1993. Victoria were chock full of confidence, having knocked out Western Australia in the Maya semi-final and then knocking Queensland out in a nail-biting preliminary final the night before, whilst the ACT had accounted for Queensland also in the major semi-final earlier that day. This really was one of the most remarkable games of indoor cricket and had endless momentum shifts throughout, an ending that really must be seen to be believed. We hope you enjoy the show.
So thank you very much to Andrew Potts. He's an international and national umpire, and he has decided to fully take on this episode. If it's not for Andrew Potts and Potts Financial Services, I'm telling you right now, this episode doesn't happen. So please support Potsy, as he's more commonly known out in the environment in indoor cricket land, because he is the absolute number one gun for making sure this episode goes ahead. And of course, our good friends at Sportscast Australia. They're the number one in what they do, and we certainly do thank them for their ongoing support. Brendan on the pots and pans down south has been trying to help us four knuckleheads try and get everything going prior to coming on air, and he's been doing a wonderful job. So thank you very much. Now, all that's being done, let's get into the action.
The opening batting pair, once again, for the Australian Capital Territory is Tim Floros and Alex Bazana. It will be Brad Jones to bowl the first over. A two-man leg side field in the front court. Fairly straight fielders on the three line. And we're underway in the national final. And a leg side and called no ball beforehand. So I'm not sure what for. Front foot, yeah.
Not the start of the Victoria after, obviously.
Not the start the Victoria after. And lads, all throughout this broadcast, feel free to jump in and stomp all over what I'm saying, because we really want to hear your insights. And then we'll get into the first wicket. It occurred in the third over from the bowling of Kieran Perkins.
So you're thinking 80 would be a pass score?
I think the ACT need to score at least 80. The batting that we saw from Victoria in last night's preliminary final against Queensland, not the least of which included 27 off the last four overs against some quality bowling to win the game, tells me that they're capable of chasing down 80 plus, if not 100, if they have to.
Yeah, look, I think so, that's for sure. Look, I think at this stage, ACT will be looking to build a score, but if we're talking about a score of 80 plus, they're well on track for that at this point in time. It is still early days, but
Kieran Perkins will bowl the third over. It's all out attack at the moment from the Vics. Tim Floros on strike. It'll be out. There it is, the first wicket in the final. It was a quicker delivery from Perkins. It surprised Floros. He tried to play it into his leg side net for two, but caught the edge and up into the back net, and a simple catch. The first wicket falls.
Kieran Perkins has just got a nice bit of shape there. I think what threw Timmy a little bit was just that little bit of extra bounce off the pitch. Didn't get the opportunity to get over it, so it took a little bit of glove.
And Brock Winkler, sorry, let's start with you. You've always wanted to know why Kieran bowled seam up in swing in the grand final after bowling leg spin all week, and you've been quoted as saying that he was probably the best leg spinner in the comp.
Yeah, so I think every state bar us had a wrist spinner that year, and I definitely have Kieran up there in terms of consistency and spin as one of the best. And so to see him rock in the third over and bump Timmy first ball was a bit of a shock to everyone. So knowing Victoria and their coaching staff and Justin, I'm sure they had their plans, but it was a bit of a shock to us.
Well, I feel like I'm in the Brady Bunch movie here as I look up over there and then see you guys. So I'll ask, is it Juddy that's over here? No, Juddy that's over here. Mate, what's going on? You've got one of the best leg spinners in the comp, seam up in swing, big call, and why'd you do it?
Yeah, I just saw something from a previous game where we thought we didn't have many in-swing bowlers. Most of our guys bowled away, and we thought that we could use Kizza as an in-swing bowler just to exploit some weaknesses in some of the ACT batters. So I actually asked him on the grand final the morning of.
Oh, gosh. Yep.
I said, what do you reckon? Can you do it? He said, yeah. So we went away, and then an hour later I went back and said, are you happy to do it? You want to bowl it? I want you to. He said, yep, I'll do it. So he took it on, and he bowled really well, and it paid off. First ball paid off. So Yeah, in hindsight, it wasn't such a bad call, but yeah, could have gone terribly wrong in the grand final, but yeah, it worked that time.
And, it's interesting that you've done that. You really did go on the attack, and we're just going to see you grab now that of just how aggressive you guys were in the first few overs.
And Clive Rose is going to bowl the 4th over. So once again, Victoria are going all out here, attacking early in this pair. I like the aggression, Moggy.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. Like, there's no point sort of saving your best bowlers to the end. Get out there and get amongst it. I mean, ACT have some real quality batsmen still to come, but look, if they can get on top here and keep this pair to below 20, it just makes it a little bit tougher for the rest of the team. Nice shot.
Squeezed out well there by Fly.
And just before I go any further as well, just wanted to highlight as well, we've got the 2 ACT boys that have come along tonight. But Juddy Perkins, I know Matthew Flores, we talked about it as well. A lot of props to Juddy representing Victoria and coming on to discuss this game as well. I know that you were quite kind of proud of Juddy and his commitment to come along and have a discussion about the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's hard looking back and watching a game that didn't go well for his team, and full credit to him to get on here. And I know he's a big advocate for the game of indoor cricket. So pretty proud of him as a mate to get on here and really help the sport as much as he can, even though it wasn't the best situation for his team.
Yeah, no, I'll echo those sentiments as well, Juddy. I know that you're quite a humble bloke, but I really just want to thank you for coming along as well. You might not enjoy the end of the game, but you're about to enjoy the next bit, because it was Victoria who took the early advantage in this game after 2 skins that were pretty evenly poised.
Final. Driven back, and that is a great catch. Clive Rose. That could be the spark the Vicks needed.
Wow, what a catch. Dove all the way across to his right-hand side and a spectacular catch. Look, that was probably a bit of a nervy shot there from Tyler Hayes. Like, he just saw the ball and he's just pushed it a little bit too hard rather than waiting for it to come. I have no doubts the Victorians there are having a bit of a chat to him, getting him nice and close around him as well. Let's see how the young man responds. 43. Shot.
A wonderful shot from Hayes, but a direct hit and it's out. The ACT side who are on the line cannot believe it.
Good bit of fielding there, Juddy.
Not happy with that decision.
Yeah, that sharp work. Who's that?
Yes, we are. Thanks to
Just watch the big man in the corner. Just watch him in the corner, ready? Oh,
well, a direct hit.
Why they scored? He was out by me.
Direct hit always,
he's out by me, you reckon?
Tough for the batsman. And
Good shot.
It is green. He's got long legs. He's got short legs, doesn't he?
Another dot.
No, he just couldn't get there. Yeah.
Tyler Hayes. It'll be 3rd ball to finish.
How good was Clive's catch?
Wicket here will really,
Ridiculous.
Really hurt the defending champions.
Yeah, that's one of the best catches I've ever seen.
100%. Just pure reaction.
Wrong hand as well.
Just a move there on the leg side field.
So good.
He's scared of the ball.
Victoria every trick in the book to try and get the ACT boys off.
Oh, it's up and it's out! A big wicket for Victoria. Armitage does the job again. And Victoria right on top in this pair and in the final. Stephen Mogg, let's have a look at the replay thanks to playcricket.com.au. You call it. What do you think?
Look, I just think Tyler's got a little bit too aggressive. He knew he was under a little bit of pressure on the 3rd ball. The ball was in a perfect area and he's probably...
And a couple of false shots there from Tyler Hayes. I like the ACT boys. Is he a bit nervous coming into this, or was it just good bowling from Victoria?
Look, I think it's a combo of both. I mean, you look at Victoria's team and their bowling is unbelievably good.
And look what Juddy does to Tyler there as well. Gives him a bit of chest.
Look, I think it's fair. Grand final. I think, nothing wrong with that. Love it. So, but I think for Tyler, first time in a grand final, came into the team sort of late as Luke Ryan got injured towards the back end of the week. So, I have no doubt he was probably quite nervous playing his first grand final.
Victoria would love another wicket.
Another wicket here, and Victoria, well, they will be very tough to beat. Here's Perkins.
Well in front at this point in time.
Oh, squeeze through the gap for 3 for Grant McDonald, but -1 for the pair. The damage done. What a 4-over period for.
And so we saw in the first 2 skins, things were really poised. Matty Flores, what were your thoughts on that, looking at the third skin? Because you were looking at a pretty hefty total, weren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every team watched us probably put on a score of 80 as par, and we knew how good Victoria were playing. So for our first two pairs to scrape almost 20 each, we thought we kind of maybe took the sting out of them a little bit, and it would have been nice for that third pair to maybe get another 15, 20 to give Brock and I some momentum last to hopefully cruise to a score of 80, but. As you just saw, Victoria just put on an absolute clinic and took advantage of the first-time grand finalist player in Tyler Hayes, and in reality took him apart a little bit.
And Justin Perkins, after a really aggressive first 4 overs where ACT kind of did get through and they navigated through some kind of tricky waters that you positioned for them, you came good in the third skin and you rocked them. A, that must have felt really good. And B, what changed? Was there something that you said? Was it an attitude thing? Did the plans just all come together? What was it about that third skin where it all just clicked?
No, didn't. We just kept plugging away. I didn't really say anything to them. We knew, like with Lukey Ryan being out, that they were going to have their 8th player was probably a target for us. So that third pair was definitely one that I think a few of the stronger bowlers we had, Adam, knowing that their last pair was pretty strong, you almost pencil 20 into that last pair and you try to get as little out as that third pair as possible. So that was more the plan for us, and it paid off in the end. As Matty said, if they got 20 and we've gone hard with our bowlers and used 4 of our better bowlers up, then that last pair is probably looking at a really good total and it's going to be a hard chase.
Well, speaking about that last pair, our 2 guests, Matt Flores and Brock Winkler, were next in.
The key pair for the ACT out at the crease now, the skipper Matt Floros and his partner Brock Winkler. They've been the mainstays for this ACT side throughout. They're going to need to put on 30 plus at least, I would think.
Yeah, you'd think you need to get the score somewhere up around about that 60, even closer to 70 if you could try.
Now, if you were a betting man, Mark Bryce, who would your money be on at this point?
Victoria for me.
There you go. They've come to this tournament with a quality team, well drilled, fired up, ready to go. And here they are in the national final on top. Here's Lawford. And a great start. Troubles the ACT skipper straight away.
Troubles the ACT skipper straight away. You're in a really tricky situation there, Matty Flores. You came out to bat. You wanted to walk off with a team total of 60 as a minimum. The commentators were saying you needed to get at least 30, but you, in your mind, were almost conceding that you might be walking off with only 50.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, ideally we wanted to get obviously as many as possible, but having a look at the situation of the game, getting a score of around 25 and getting us to 60 may have given us a little bit of momentum is sort of what I was thinking. And then after, you kind of look down and then look back up and Trent Lawford's running in bowling the first ball at you kind of might start thinking, oh, maybe I'll take 10 or 15 here. Maybe 50 will have to be enough kind of thing. So, I know Jody mentioned that third pair, they threw 4 pretty good bowlers at them. I felt like we got 4 pretty damn good bowlers at the end as well. So, they're a pretty good team across the paddock. So, after that third pair, getting the positives was just a start for us, I think.
And Brock Winkler, you're a quietly confident young man. What were your thoughts coming into that last batting partnership with your captain by your side?
So I guess before we went out, we both said that we were going to go out and get our 20 as we had most of that competition. But I guess in a grand final, you want to try and get as many runs on the board as possible. And I think I personally thought that we probably needed 30 as a pair to get up to a total where we could really have a chance at defending it, and especially knowing how the Vics play and how they played the night before in the preliminary.
30 is a lot of runs in 6 full overs.
It is. If you play smart, don't lose any wickets, and Matty and I take took a few calculated risks, I guess, challenging the fielders with direct hits. It's just a matter of playing a game and hoping it goes our way on the day, I guess.
And Juddy, you didn't have any predetermined amount of runs you wanted to restrict them to, but you did want to take 2 wickets, which you didn't manage to do.
No, the same as what these guys said. It's about momentum. So if you can jag 2 wickets, they're probably not going to get 30. It might be 20. And you still, what would that put them to? 56 or 46? 56. You back yourself to get that every time. So disappointing we didn't get the 2 wickets. And as I said, by them getting 30, the momentum swung back into ACT's favour a little bit. Still would have taken 66 at the coin toss. But yeah, ideally they get 0 and we're chasing 36 and me and Kizza knock it off in 4-0.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have made life a little bit easier. And there was some interesting projections of the totals. And there was a very, very interesting statistic raised in regards to Victoria's ability with the bat.
Over for the ACT. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, it's the men's final here at the Indoor Cricket National Championships. I'm Cameron Walter and joined by Mark Rice. How do you see it? They've fought back well, 2 overs to come. Will they get past 60?
I think that they're on target to get past 60. I think at this point from here, the bowlers that are left, I think you'd be happy with 65 to 70 on the board.
And those are the sorts of runs that the ACT can defend. However, we saw such an incredible batting performance from these Victorians last night against Queensland. They will fancy themselves. Now, the highest amount of runs Victoria have managed to score against the ACT in this tournament, 63. If I'm not mistaken, the lineups in that match were pretty similar to this one. So that's an indication of the quality that the ACT has. But as you say, it is a final. They are in pursuit.
Yeah, everything can change in a final. That's the thing. Once you get here, it's a whole different ball game.
Justin Perkins, did you know that 63 was the highest total you'd scored against this team coming into this match?
No idea. Didn't know at all, really. If you look back at the score sheets, you probably pick it up, but it's probably not something you want to discuss going into a final. Say to the boys, we're getting under 63 because if we don't, we're going to get beat. So, no, we were chasing runs all week that week. And as it was mentioned before, we chased down, I think it was high. It was over 100. It might have been 115 or something the night before. I can't remember what it was against Queensland. So I think what Matty said before, 80 is about par most games. If you can keep a team under 80, it gets a bit easier to chase. Every run above 80 gets a bit tougher. So, yeah, obviously in a final, you could say 70's par as well. So I was still happy chasing that score.
Yeah, well, Mark Rice hit the nail on the head. He said somewhere between 65 and 70. I mean, mind you, there was just a couple more overs to go, but still, he kind of predicted where it was going to land, and here's where things finished at the end of the innings.
And the final ball of the innings. What a great fight back this has been from the ACT captain and his partner, Brock Winkler. And Clive Rose get another wicket for the Vicks.
Well,
be a dot to finish.
It's a great ball to finish on.
Certainly is. And what a contest unfolding before us, ladies and gentlemen. An appreciative crowd on their feet. The Victorians restricting the ACT to 66 runs. The bulk of the damage done in the third pair. And Victoria will need 67 runs to win.
We'll start with Justin, then Brock, then Matt. Juddy, you said at the top of the broadcast you'd take 66 if they offered it to you prior to the game. Where did you think you're at, and where did you fancy Victoria's chances of winning this match?
Would have been. I was pretty happy with 66. I think ACT's pretty quality side. Anything under 80, I think, was a win for us with their batting lineup. So we're quite happy with that. Pretty much most things went.
And Brock Winkler?
Yeah, look, I thought it was pretty evenly balanced. I actually knew that we'd kept them to pretty low totals throughout the week. And with Toowoomba and its nets, they're very narrow courts and tight nets and sort of played into our hands and create more chances and take more wickets. So I I thought we were a chance, but it was always going to be tight with the lineup that Victoria had.
And Matthew Flores.
Yeah, much like Brock, I think the game was pretty much in the balance. As much as we scored 30 and managed to claw back some momentum, I know Victoria had been batting very, very well and chased down a big total in the final the night before. So, I still kind of had this feeling of, this was quite a comfortable total for them to chase that they could quite comfortably do in two pairs, realistically. But like Brock said, we back ourselves with the ball and in the field, and we've kept teams to negative scores in the past. So, reality is 66 was going to have to be enough.
It's just interesting to see the mindset of you all. You've got Victoria that are thinking, they're not being cocky about it, but they're thinking, this is enough. We can get through with this. And then likewise, you're thinking the same. You've got the mathematician, Brock Winkler. His toes are out, his fingers are out, the abacus is going. He's, got all the maths running through his mind as he likes to do, the numbers man, Brocky Winkler. So both of you all thought that you were a red hot chance of winning this match, both teams.
Definitely.
I reckon.
Well, we will.
They're lying if they said they don't want more.
Sorry, Juddy?
I reckon they wanted more runs. I reckon they're lying if they're saying they were happy with that at the start of the day at the toss.
Matt Flores, you're the captain. What do you say to that?
Oh, you're spot on. I mean, minimum 80 is what we wanted. And we look back at the score now, and you look at that third pair and think, neg one, and you swing that around, they get 15, all of a sudden we're close to 90. I mean, that's almost unchaseable in a grand final. So you're spot on, Jody.
Well, stick with us. We've got the second half coming along, and we'll have a quick word from our sponsor.
We would like to thank Potts Financial Services for their ongoing commitment to indoor cricket. Potts Financial Services specialises in superannuation, personal insurance and investment strategies, as well as providing advice on a wide range of personal and business areas. Visit pottsfinancialservices.com or contact Andrew direct on 0424 969 228. A very, very big thank you to Potts Financial Services.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are watching Indoor Cricket's Greatest Games. My name is Gary Lowe. I'm delighted to have Brock Winkler, Matthew Flores and Justin Perkins here to dissect the 2018 Men's National Grand Final played between the ACT and Victoria. And again, it seemed to be the Victorians that would have control of the game.
Feat this could be for Victoria. Haven't won a title at the Open men's level since 1994. And here they are against the defending champions. In pole position, 2 to come. This time straight to Bazana.
Good fielding.
Yeah.
Well bowled. Best thing for Victoria here is either a dot or a very simple walk through too.
And it'll be the latter. Fantastic batting from the Victorian skipper and his brother. The Perkins brothers have posted 24 for the first pair in pursuit of 6.
Juddy, you seemed pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I was actually got a bit emotional coming off after that batting performance. It's a long week. It just takes it out of you, and then that was it. I was done. I had to sit back and watch from there on. So, yeah, it's a bit of a relief sometimes at the end of the week when you're done and you walk off and think, well, that's it. So Kizza had a blinder of a week as well, batted with him all week, so I couldn't have been happy with the way he went as well. He put a lot of hard work in. But, yeah, happy with that. That was a good start, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good, and now we've just gained some insight that at the end there it was more of a weight seemed perhaps lifted off your shoulders more so than a celebration, hey?
Yeah. I was. By the end of the week, you're mentally cooked. Like you're just waiting to get into the froths, really. So it's a hard game. It's hard work. So and Matt would understand that you spend to the other boys. You're spending hours, 2 hours or 3 hours a day doing selection, going through game plans and all this other stuff. So at the end of the week, it is a relief just to finish off and yeah, just be done. And hopefully we're thinking then we're going all right. We've knocked down a third of their score in the first four overs and on the way. So.
Well, one of the efforts in this match that has quite often gone overlooked. Tyler Hayes scored -11 with the bat, and he really had to come out and do a job for his team. Other fantastic bowlers in the match: Benji Flores 1 for 5, Grant McDonald 3 for -1. But I know in particular our two guests from the ACT were really, really thrilled and wanted to make special mention of Tyler Hayes. So let's see some of Tyler Hayes in action and hear the response from Matt and Brock.
The over. And these two looking good. Victoria continuing on their march towards what could potentially be their first national title since 1994.
It's been a long time since drinks. Young Tyler Hayes coming in the bowl now.
Didn't have the best game with the bat. Had a good game with the ball against Queensland in the major semi. He'll be looking to produce something like that now. And they need that from the young man, do the ACT.
Yeah, and pointing two on the leg side, so obviously he's going to keep the ball nice and tight onto that leg stump. Good start.
Yeah, right on the hip of Lawford. Just had a look at it. Suspect we might see him play that sort of down up.
So, Matty, having two on the leg side, obviously bowling up into that hip kind of channels where you wanted him to be?
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly where we told him to be. Keep it nice and simple and stick to the one spot. And as you can see, he just didn't miss. Didn't have the greatest game with bat in hand, but I think it's this ball. You'll see exactly why we give him a lot of credit for what he did.
With two on the leg side field.
Expected to be full and wide. No, he's bowled the same ball. And that should be out at the top end. They make no mistake this time. Matt Flores, one of the best leg side fielders in the game, gets it back to the top sticks. And Lawford has run out at the top end. And how about that bowling from the young man, Tyler Hayes? Oh,
that's exceptional. He's bowled 3 balls on the perfect spot there and created an opportunity for third ball. And ACT have executed. Again, Matt Flores, they had to run third ball, but normally you'd just call no on that. He's just got such a presence, gets up tall, good service to right above the top of the stumps. Is that the wicket that gets ACT rolling? Again, same ball.
Yeah, and off the net. And back in at the stumps.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, well, we just saw, as you said, Matty, 4 pills pretty much right on a penny. So I'll just ask you to give a 20 to 30 second wrap up of what you thought of the Hayes performance with the ball.
Yeah, look, it was phenomenal. I mean, he had a, I'll be polite about it, he had a stinker with the bat. And he's a young kid. We were playing in front of I think that's the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of. We had a couple of hundred people there. And he was put under a lot of pressure and, stuck to our game plan very, very well, even though it would have been quite easy to maybe try and chase a couple of wickets and get himself back in the credit, but he just stuck to the game plan and it worked well for us.
And after that, there was a couple of balls that took place and the game continued to flow. And then one of the most talked about plays in modern indoor cricket took place. Watch this.
Upish.
Oh, and it's 4 runs. It's a juggle from Alex Flores at the back. It fell a little
That would have been a good snap from Alex at the back.
Quicker down to the ground than he thought. And Armitage has chanced his
I can tell you, Laurie, I wasn't happy at that point.
That's a big moment in the match. I'm not sure what.
Getting upset, were you?
There was no need for it. But
yeah, no, wasn't very happy at all.
And a man cat for the ACT. The ACT skipper responds straight away. Not many purists like that in the game, but Armitage, he'd left and he was out by a good, foot. Maybe a speculative wicket, Moggy.
Oh, look, but that's where ACT are at the moment. They needed that. I am not a big fan of the man cat, but look, it is a part of the game. He did leave his crease. There are a few really good exponents of it, and there's no better than that one. That was fantastic.
If you're going to go on again, Matty.
Conversation between Umpire and some of the
No,
players about that.
I didn't want to do the first one, let alone another one.
That'll be out. No. Oh, Jones just in the way of the ball.
Well within his right to run
Absolutely,
that straight line.
100%.
And then there's some words here that's had Matty Flores. Things are starting to get a little bit heated out there.
Two sides. It is still game on here, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
yeah,
What a game
definitely.
we're
I mean,
seeing.
you look at the score there, Victoria well on their way to putting us to rest and cleaning up the game. So, I don't know, we had to try and throw off their game a little bit somehow. So, I'm great mates with Jared. So, it's always hard when you try to niggle someone a little bit.
Just out of Benji Flores's reach.
Well, I reckon you niggled Brad Jones. Here he comes.
Walking up and
Say hello.
There is plenty of feeling.
Did he ask what you had for breakfast?
As you expect, this is a national.
Oh, look, it's very much warranted. They were, he was playing, he had an outstanding game actually. So, especially in a grand final, emotions usually like to stick their head up a little bit. So,
Plenty of chat again. Harmony's having a bit to say to Matt Flores. Matt Flores having a fair bit to say back.
and to be fair, I probably wasn't bowling too well at all. So,
it'll be the final ball of the pair now.
yeah.
Still critical. Brad Jones has batted the house down. Can he do it again for Victoria here? The last ball, the 12th. He can. What a shot. It'll be 3. Fantastic batting from Brad Jones. He's carrying on a little bit too much. Not sure that's required. He should be letting the bat do the talking. He's still carrying on, and he's been told by the umpire to leave.
If he continues and he's not careful, he might lose 5 runs.
Yeah, I know he's pumped, but really absolutely no need for that. He absolutely batted the house down. And, well, Victoria, these two, Craig and Burns scored 27 last night against Queensland in a fantastic batting performance. Tonight, well, this afternoon, they don't...
Well, we just heard that the batters that come out now, they scored 27 against Queensland the night before. They didn't have such a big task. We'll go back just quickly to the man-cad, Matt Flores. It's in the rules, mate.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I love the man cat. I think it keeps players honest in indoor cricket, especially. But I think throughout that game, I wasn't bowling the greatest, and as you saw the ball before, I got hit side to back 4, and I heard Billy, actually our coach, walk past, and he just said it's on, and straight away I knew exactly what he meant. He didn't have to say anything else. So I just had to do it. I didn't really have a choice, but for me personally, it kind of felt like a cheap shot because I wasn't bowling great and felt like it was the only way I was going to get a wicket. So I got a bit of stick for it, but in reality, looking back on it, it may have just done the job for us.
And I'll ask my mate upstairs above me, Brock Winkler, mate. What was your kind of response? Because I saw you got a bit of a chuckle there when Matty was talking about the man cad.
Oh, I love it. Like Matty said, it's in the rules. Standing at offline when the stumps get taken, it's a bit of a surprise. You sort of turn around, try and figure out what's happened, and then celebrate and run into the middle. But I guess it's something that ACT, we as a state, we kind of train a little bit for it. So we're taught to watch the ball out of the hand. We're taught to take only 2 steps after that we've seen the ball go out of the hand. Little things like that, because it's a legitimate mode of dismissal. So it's the same as making sure you make your ground when you're running and you stand in front of your stumps and play a shot when the ball's bowled at the stumps. So you don't want to give the opposition an opportunity. Luckily, Matty saw that opportunity and took it, and I think it did give us a little bit of something going into the last pair.
Well, what I will say is that both of you fellas from ACT would make outstanding politicians. Matty's dodged it and said that it was Billy's fault, and you've dodged it and said that it's the non-striker's fault. So absolutely no responsibility from you guys. All handballed away elsewhere. I love it. Juddy, from the sidelines, I guess you wouldn't have been sitting back and admiring the smart heads-up play from a very red-hot ACT side?
It wasn't great. Time. Desperate times, desperate measures, and so I'm a bit on Brock's side. If it's going to happen, then it's up to the non-striker not to leave. So, but yeah, it's never ideal. And I believe Matty, because I've done it before as well. When the times come, it's not something the player wants to do. It just comes to necessity in the game normally. So,
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Juddy. It's desperate times call for desperate measures. So.
Well, look, I'm happy to move on from it, but it was talked about for ages, and I know that up in the bar when everyone was having a couple of froths, as Juddy was talking about, it was a point of conjecture. For mine, as a spectator, it's the same as bowling someone. It's the same as catching someone. It's a mode of dismissal. If it's not meant to be there, then it wouldn't be in the rules. Me personally, I don't see any issue with it whatsoever, but people just love talking about it. But I think from an indoor cricket perspective, it's just part of it. I don't know why it is such a bit of a non-issue. Stay in your crease a little bit longer and you'll be okay. But in all of that, ACT struggle. They're fighting so hard to stay in it, but the Vics somehow were managing to stay in control.
This is in front now. Just takes one wicket, but one wicket will change the context of this game and put Vics back under a fair bit of pressure and obviously get the ACT boys pumped up. They've just got to find a way. Probably going to take something special in the field.
Chance now. Again, they can't hit, and the scores are level with 19 deliveries to come. We're going to need to see the defending champions come up with, as you say, Moggy, something special in the field here. They have the attack, they have the field, but they haven't produced it so far.
It can all turn in one delivery, but so that's what the ACT will be hoping for. Victoria playing really well at this stage.
Well, at the end of this over, and of course Justin Perkins from Victoria wouldn't know this, Captain Matt Flores from the ACT gets the men into the huddle and tells the team that it's okay, that you can't win everything in life. It's okay to lose. Don't go over the top. Don't do something stupid and stay humble. Brock Winkler, do you remember Matt Flores saying that in the huddle?
Yep. Matty basically preparing us to lose to the better team on the day, which is fair enough. I guess I think Matty's over. I guess we saw a couple of chances go past the Panthers or Alexander's side back drop catch, 9-run turnaround. There was a run out the ball after the Mancad that was, 9 times out of 10, I think we take that. So I think we all thought at that point, scores a level, 3 overs to go, that the game might have passed us, and Matty just said sort of make sure that we do the Rockets proud and go out whatever the result with our heads held high.
And Juddy, hearing that as the opposition captain, how does that make you feel, knowing that the opposition actually had that much respect for you, that they wanted to show you that respect and they wanted to finish the game strong, and they were conceding that they weren't going to go on and win this game?
Oh, that's great to hear. And I think up until then, we probably were the better side. With 19 balls to go, needing 1 run, you still think you get that most, you just get it. So, it's good to hear. That's how it should be played. So that's fantastic to hear. It fucking hurts.
Yeah. That's why we haven't gone live. We're keeping that in, but Brendan on the pots and pans down there for Sportscast, he's going to beat that one out, but we're going to keep that in because that's a raw emotion right there. You were so close, and this is what happens. Everyone now grab the popcorn, get ready. This is the last few overs. We're going to watch it together. Scores are level.
2nd over.
Winkler looks like it. Yep.
So his first over went for 2 runs. He came up with the goods for the ACT. We'll need something better than that now.
Yeah, we'll need negatives.
So Brock Winkler, what are you thinking here when you've got the ball in hand, scores are even?
Try and keep the pressure on as much as possible, I guess. So plans to Jack and to Jared were to into the hip and feed the 2 on the leg side. First ball, I just snuck that in. That's Miles in, actually.
That's a wide.
Miles in. And then and I knew that I had a dot over from Grant's over that'd give me a 3rd ball chance. So standard
This over really
for
shapes
that
the game.
tournament, the
A
standard
wicket or two.
plan was Fulham
This
wide,
has
and
been
I was
tremendous.
you'll see that I
Third ball.
bowled it relatively well, I guess.
So well. Here
Snuck
comes
it past
the
him.
Fulham wide beaten, and it's out.
Big wicket.
What a moment in the game. Huge from the ACT, and more push and shove.
But I guess from
Game
here,
summoned.
we've only taken
Really
one
don't
wicket, and
want-
they still only need
not
6 to
like
get
to see a
past us. So
penalty here. If the
we've still got to
Victorians
keep
try to
creating
run it,
chances, and I
which
think
they did in their innings,
I guess that's what we did and what we had to do. But a grand final is a funny place, and funny things can happen, I guess. And the plan was always, and probably was all the way to the end, to bowl into the hip, and you'll see that this one doesn't quite land in that spot.
Both teams have been sufficiently warned, so look, it's good to really.
Oh,
it's another
massive wicket! Brock Wickler, the man of the moment, gets through. Jack Craig and the ACT.
And after this ball, you'll see me run down. I actually asked Billy here if I can man-cad, to which I got a very,
Did you
very
hear-
stern no.
Did you just hear that, Juddy? Brock Wickland's gone down to ask if he can do another man cad.
Look, Moggy, absolutely
Oh.
Billy told me to get back to the back net and bowl the ball, so I said yes, sir.
Lots of finger pointing, telling everybody that's a no.
I actually saw Jack walk away here,
What a game we have,
so I made sure he was ready and running, and got lucky enough again.
Amazing! Absolutely incredible scene
It's something that
here at
Clive
Exeter
Rose
Ball
had
to
done all
one.
week, and it was really hard to sort of face up and make sure you were ready and play a good shot, and I saw an opportunity, and Jack probably wasn't 100% ready, but was in place and saw me run in, and I got lucky.
Has come up with a hat-trick in the 14th over of the game. Incredible, Stephen
Oh,
Hall.
this is amazing. The odds for him getting it again are just.
Even at this point, Juddy, out of curiosity, you guys, were you still
Still plenty of time. They don't
comfortable
You still
with,
back yourself.
you know, these two
What is
chasing
there?
it?
2 overs to go.
Good call. Wow.
You still need 14, so it's only a run of ball out of reach. I think a run out the next over is when I thought, oh, we're in strife here.
Yeah.
In memory, I think there was a
Because I
couple
think
of a
even-
run out, and then a run out, and then that was pretty much game over.
Because even at this point, you know, knowing how good these two can be with the bat, I think, yeah, you kind of look at it and go 15. They can get that over.
That's it, and we all knew that we'd seen Jack and Jared bat the night before, and well all week, and how easily they can hit the back net if they get the ball in the right spot. So I know for a fact that we all thought that we needed probably 2 more at least here to make sure that we were going to win. But if we didn't, then we were probably in a bit of strife.
This one here, Juddy.
Sorry, what was that, Juddy?
Yeah, there's a run out this over, and that's when I first thought, oh, we're in strife here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first
it's his
ball.
first ball.
Is
Yeah, I think I
So
know
this
what you mean, 'cause
was
they
a
both
big
end
ball
up
for
at
all
one
of you, hey?
end. Yeah, because they both end up at one end as well, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, it's this one. This one I thought we were in trouble.
Yeah. Because I think the big thing
And
that
all of a sudden,
I noticed,
16.
about that.
yeah, 18 off
Sorry, go,
11
Jody.
starts getting really tough.
Yeah. But I think the big
Is it
thing
9?
for me at that point is if you run someone out, you know, with a direct hit or something like that, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, that's a good bit of fielding. But you know, when you see 2 batsmen at the same end, you kind of do notice that there is a bit of tentativeness and nervousness there, and they may not trust each other. So I think that's where we also kind of got a bit of belief that maybe we have rocked them a little bit.
Yeah, it starts to get more than a run of ball, it gets harder and harder as well.
Yeah. But even then, I think it could be. I'm pretty sure it's this over where Jared actually. It might be this ball, maybe where Jared actually hits the back net. And even after he hits the back net, I think straight away my mind went back to, you know, here we go. They're going to chase it quite easily. So it seemed like it's the momentum swung every single ball in the last 2 overs.
It was that one.
Yeah. I've seen Jared hit, you know, skins of 40, 50. So, yeah, when he did that, I'll tell you what, very nervous at that point.
No, there's not making a change.
There's just some instructions there for Floros.
Yeah.
Craig back on strike. 3 to come. Game and national title in the balance.
Good length. Chance.
Oh, sent back. Another amazing fielding effort from Matt Floros. He is an absolute beast there at the leg side.
We can't
Crowd
afford to
that
lose that.
day.
14 runs separate these two.
Sorry, you go, Judd. You're right.
You get the sense that
One more wicket here is game over for us.
But Victoria will never die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Is that what you were
The crowd
thinking at the
that
time?
day.
Realistically, they need to start out without losing a wicket here to have a chance.
Bazana comes in the
Yeah.
bowl. Short of the length.
another chance to hit. It doesn't come. And 2 runs.
I reckon that's as close as we have ever come at a national tournament to having a home crowd. I don't know what you think, Matty, but I'll certainly never forget the noise from that day, because we had, I think, every one of our junior teams left of screen there sitting in the grandstands, along with a fairly hefty contingent of family.
Yeah, we never usually have junior teams, do we? So we had a few that year, and yeah, I think the whole stand was packed with them. I will ask you, Juddy, because it's about to come up. At this point, I noticed Jack and Jared didn't go over to the net to speak to the team too much.
Yeah, they went to Ross then.
Oh, they went to Ross there. I think it might be.
I think so.
There was a, where was it? No, it was maybe after the 3 wickets it was. So Brock took those 3 wickets and they didn't go to speak to you guys over at the net. Do you feel like, I don't know, you probably don't remember. Do you feel like that's something that they probably should have done at that point, or you didn't think it really mattered too much for these 2 players and the way they play?
No, I think you just let them bat sometimes. Every bloke's different, aren't they? So I think for Jack, this is the first time I've watched this back. So you see things, I remember it differently, and you see things now. Maybe he should have taken a bit more time in between the balls. And definitely when Brock come in, he wasn't ready to face that ball for sure. So don't face up until you're ready.
Yeah. Like you
There's
said,
no time in these grand finals. You can take as long as you want. So take 20 seconds just to recompose and then come back ready to go. So
yeah,
I'm sure he's probably learnt from this and he's going to be better for it.
Yeah. Were you guys still at this point still feeling like you guys were going to chase it?
I can't remember now. I think I had my head in the bin. I was about to.
Yeah.
I was that nervous. I felt sick.
Yeah, I think it was through this whole last 2 or 3 overs. I don't think it was honestly until the last ball where.
Well, now we need a couple of back nets now.
Yeah. Surely you'd back yourself against Green.
Yeah, well, especially Burnsy on the man, isn't he? Jared Burns, he loves the back net. So
yeah.
He
Just to be honest, I think it was even.
And it's game on again.
Yeah. I think it was even maybe after this one. I could be wrong, but I think there might be a wicket here.
This is a wicket.
Yeah.
So that's real tough, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the last 3 balls, you need 21 there off the last 3, so 7 a ball. And to be honest, I came to the back net at that point, and I was still expecting these 2 blokes to actually hit 3-7 for the entire game, to be honest.
It's funny when you're in the game, you don't really, you probably didn't know what the score was. You're probably looking at it, but it doesn't register.
I had no idea until the very last ball, which it was way out. I knew we won, but up until then, I think we had it sorted with 2 balls left, and I had no idea.
Yeah, you just don't look at the scoreboard.
This is where it's important that McDonald just bowls everything within the zone. Bang, 1 shot.
Hits the leg, it'll be 3, and Victoria, barring a no ball, cannot win.
And Brock, you probably don't even know how many balls are bowled either. You're probably thinking, oh, how many's left? 3, 4?
Because that's it. And like Matty said, with each boy, like you're just waiting for them to hit a bomb.
I think the big thing about this situation is as nice as it is to win and celebrate, you know, and for Jack Craig especially, as a mate of his, and I'm sure you feel the same, Juddy, that, you know, it's hard to watch someone who's such a good player struggle in a game and end up with what happening to him. So it's not ideal, definitely. So it was, it must have been tough on him and your team.
Yeah, it was. It was tough.
Yeah.
As a side, we went down under those change rooms they have there, and it was just silence for 5 minutes. And then, what do you say? You can't say anything to this.
Yeah.
Jack and Burn, Jack and Jared all got us to the grand final, so without them, we wouldn't have been there.
Yeah. Yeah,
to Jack's credit, the way he played in 2019 last year was an absolute. Played the house down in the game that you guys beat us in the preliminary final.
Yeah, probably was best on ground. So it's a funny game.
I was still very much in a state of shock during this. I still actually hadn't registered what had happened.
Yeah. I mean, to this day, I'm still in shock, to be honest.
Agree.
Yeah.
And then coming up, Matty, is one of the more famous photos of indoor cricket that's been plastered everywhere, and I believe that it's even the cover photo of yourself and Brock Winkler to this day. Here it is there. Coming up, that shot.
Yeah,
go down in history.
Yeah, it was like Juddy said. I think we got to that point, or I definitely did, where you knew it was over, and as much as you love playing the game, you get to the end of a big week, and it's a relief when you're finished and you've done the job essentially. But the thing that I'd love to kind of see, which I know we don't have photos or footage of, is the crowd that we actually that we had down that side. I'm not used to playing in front of the crowd because we don't have many ACT teams floating around. But I think that year we had about 6 or 7 junior teams, so about 100 people sitting in the stand wearing blue shirts that day. So that was a very fond memory of mine.
And Juddy, and this is why I've just got so much respect for you to be able to come on and have just open dialogue with these two guys that absolutely robbed you, possibly, of a championship that Victoria hadn't won since 1994. You could see the emotion on the boys, your two batters. They were just crushed. Watching it back and the feelings that you had then, it's still pretty raw, is it?
Yeah, it hurts to watch that. It's one of those games where I think about it all the time. Like, it's just going to haunt us. It haunts me. I'll be at work and you just think about that game. So, for a lot of our guys, obviously none of those guys have won a national title, and played in a couple now and been on the wrong side of it. So it might be one of those things. I'm sure, and Matty and Brock probably can explain it, where they've won now. Have these guys ever even lost one? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But the ones you lose when you win, I'm sure you forget about them pretty quickly. So us as a group, we're still pretty keen to get back and win, create the good memories, and then we can forget about the bad ones.
Yeah, well, I've got absolutely no doubt that a Victorian national title is just around the corner. Obviously, the two blokes to the left or right of you, depending on which way they are, probably have something to say about that. But Matt Flores, Brock Winkler, watching that back, obviously, that's why we're here. One of the greatest games of indoor cricket ever played.
Yeah, I know Juddy said he hasn't watched it back at all to to be quite honest about it, I think I've watched it probably close to 500 times, I reckon. So, it's one of those things that I don't, definitely not trying to rub it in or anything like that, but it's just one of those games where when you're on the winning side of it, it's just an unbelievable victory. And we had lost for so many years prior to that, and for Brock and I, it was our third national title championship that we won. So to do it in that fashion, it's just one of those things. To this day, I still can't believe we did.
And I understand it was from that day King Brock came to be, and you haven't had to buy a beer in Canberra ever since. Is that true?
I've made sure I've bought plenty. Because without my team, I'm not very good. Let's be honest. It's pretty handy bowling. One of the best front courts. No offense, Juddy. One of the best front courts in the world. Without those guys, it would I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. But yeah, that day and that game certainly sticks with me for obvious reasons. The noises that I heard that day are something that I've never heard, and I doubt I'll hear again. It was just something that's out of this world. And like I said before, it's still something that I'm still sort of in a bit of shock about, and it really hasn't registered sort of the gravity of what we did, I guess.
Yeah, well, we certainly are. I mean, I was in the grandstand watching that, and my brain exploded and lava ran down my face. I couldn't believe what I was seeing out on that court, and it was just one of the best endorsements for indoor cricket I think I've ever seen. Like, if that doesn't get you excited about our format of the game, well, then I just don't know what possibly does. Guys, thanks so much for your company. As I said at the top of the show, to have 3 Australian players, whether it's World Cup, Australasian Cups, Trans-Tasmans, you've all played them, and you're 3 of the best players currently getting around. I think you'd have to go a long way in an Uber to find someone that's better than you 3 blokes. So just want to say on behalf of the Yellow Ball Podcast, Sportscast, Potts Financial Services, and a very, very grateful wider indoor cricketing community. Thank you so much for giving up your time. Your insights were brilliant. I'm going to love rewatching this back and just hearing you guys talk amongst each other in those final few overs. So to all 3 of you, thanks very much for coming along. And hopefully you're not a stranger to the Yellow Ball Podcast, okay?
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Thanks, Gary.
Cheers. And to all of you at home, thanks very much for your company. It's been a pleasure having you. We certainly hope that you enjoyed the show. And with a little luck, there might even be Indoor Cricket's Greatest Games Episode 3 on the way next month. Stay tuned. Thank you, and bye for now.
In the grand final, the boys stuck to their plans and also stuck to their own processes and really never gave up, which always kept us in the game. The squad worked hard as they normally do every year. In Canberra, we're lucky because we're so small that we can get everyone to training generally, and always very proud how they conduct themselves. Because we're so close, we end up becoming a family, and Marie and I try to always teach them life skills rather than just indoor cricket skills, which then they get a chance to bring that into their decision making in the game, which really is a good asset to have, to know what to do. So, I think it's pretty obvious why this is one of the greatest wins to be fielding. Scores tied with a lot of time left in the game, and to come back and win. At that stage, I'm sure everyone wrote us off, but it was very special, and proud of how they kept going right to the end and gave us that win. It was a great win, and what made it even more special was the amount of ACT supporters from juniors in the stands. Having a sea of blue supporting you was really fantastic. I was very happy that we won, but it was just a great game of indoor cricket to be a part of, and very privileged to have that opportunity.